Good afternoon. Yesterday in the medicinal plants information, we discussed about Phyllanthus imblica or Imblica officinalis, that is Usiri, Amla. Then Phyllanthus amarus, which is a weed plant, of course, but much used in traditional medicine and also in the herbal medicine, like for the treatment of the jaundice. So those two plants we had discussed yesterday. Let us discuss briefly about the other few plants, that is Gymnema sylvester. So the Gymnema sylvester is belong to the family Asclepiadaceae, that is Calotropis family. It is in Telugu it is called as Padapatri, in Hindi it is Gudmar, and Mesha Shringi, that is because of the peculiar character of the leaves. They are more broad at the base and with a very typical acute apex. That is called Mesha Shringi, like the pods. In fact, the pods are horn-like, goat horns-like, as that is the Sanskrit name. It is much used in the traditional medicine for the treatment of diabetes since ancient times. So the morphology of the plant is concerned, it is a perennial climber, particularly found in the dry regions, dry deciduous forest regions. It is commonly been observed. And the characteristic feature of the family members wise, as we know, the Calotropis, as an example I mentioned, the milky latex is an important character been observed in the vegetative parts. When you pluck the leaves or flower of any of these plants, we'll observe the exudation of white milky sap, that is called milky latex. That is one characteristic feature. And the leaves are of simple in nature, and opposite simple leaves are been present, which are of oblong, entire margin and acute apex. Then the inflorescence is axillary corymbose inflorescence, and the flowers are of greenish, uh, creamish white in color, not so significant. Then the fruits are of etario follicles. So it's a pair of follicles. Two fruits will be arising from each stalk. Okay, so here that's what I told you, like the Mesha Shringi, like the horns of the goat, like as they resemble, slightly they are broad at the base and very much pointed at the tip. So here the useful part of the plant is mainly the leaves. Leaves are the useful part of the plant. So then coming to the active principles of the plant are concerned, it is mainly gymnemic acid is the main active principle of the plant. Uh, and it is also consists of other different kinds of cytosterol and phytosterol and other compounds as well. So the medicinal uses of this plant is, it is much since ancient times it has been used for the treatment of diabetes, and also for the arthritis problem and all. So it is being used even to the controlling of the cholesterol levels as well. Mainly, it is having some peculiar feature, Gymnema sylvester. Uh, the leaves of the gymnemic acid, when you just chew the leaves of this plant, Gymnema sylvester, it makes our sweet taste buds on the tongue numb for a while. So if you chew the leaves, we don't feel the sweetness even you are consuming the sugar for some time. Depends upon the sensitivity of the people. It may last up to half an hour. So the main activity of this gymnemic acid is it slows down the absorption of the sugar. That's what most of our herbal drugs, whether it is trigonella, that is methi, or Mamardica carentia, that is bitter gourd, and these are the things we generally been suggesting to reduce the sugar levels, right? So, but here, uh, no herbal drug can reduce the sugar levels in the blood, but the absorption will be slowed down. As the absorption rate is slowed down, the sudden shoot up of the sugar won't be there in the blood. So that's how it is been controlling the blood sugar. It's a very effective drug, and it is also the much been going to be even introduced in allopathy medicine system as well. But it is caution need to be taken for the pregnant women to use this drug. Then the Other two plants are of very interesting plants and belongs to the same family. We regularly use, unlike the other plants we have discussed so far, except amla, we are not going to use these plants in our regular day-to-day life. But the plants which we are going to discuss, that is curcuma langa, that is turmeric, also called as Indian saffron. Here the plant belongs to Gingiberaceae family. So the name is indicating, no, it also the ginger also belongs to this family, Gingiberaceae. So we'll discuss briefly about the curcuma langa. Uh, so here it is the Curcuma domestica was the earlier name, but changed to Curcuma langa. So because of its coloring character, it is generally referred as Indian saffron and haldi in Hindi. So it is a very common ingredient in our culinary and also in different cultural activities. Like it is been part and parcel of our day-to-day life, in fact, right? So it do have a lot of medicinal properties, and India also has a patent for the curcumin or the turmeric products wise. We have the references of its use since ancient times, that is provided the basis for claiming the patent right on curcuma. Okay, so here the useful part is the rhizome. As a botany students, all of us need to know what is the morphology of this turmeric. Right, it is a modified stem, underground stem of fleshy in nature, that is been horizontally growing structure, that is called a rhizome. So here the useful part is the rhizome, and the fresh rhizome is also been used sometimes, but often it is been boiled, dried, and then made into powder. That's how we generally use the turmeric powder for different purposes, right? So the fresh turmeric is also being used, but not, you cannot store the rhizome for a longer time, being they are very fleshy. So they are, in fact, they are perishable kind. And even the kind of color, as we observe in the turmeric, will be seen only once it has been boiled, then dried and made into powder. That actual color of the turmeric will be seen. So here the morphological characters wise, the gingerbread, as it belongs to the family Gingiberaceae, one of the monocot family. So the rhizome is the fleshy structure of this plant, and will be developing roots from each node, as we can clearly see the markings on the rhizome as the nodal region like. So it will be having an adventitious root system only, and the leaves are radical. That means they are rising from the base of this rhizomatic stem with the long petioles, and the petioles are overlapping and makes a pseudo stem like structure. So there is no true stem, something like our musa, that is banana. Here also the long petioles of the radical leaves overlap and makes the appearance like an aerial part of the stem. So the leaf is of a sheathing leaf base will be there, and the leaves are little broader with the entire margin and acute apex and with distinct parallel venation. So even the leaves are also highly aromatic. They are pubescent and highly aromatic, and the inflorescence is a scape that is been arising from the base of the uh, rhizome. That is, as they are radical and been starting as a just a stalk-like structure, it is called as a scape inflorescence. Okay, so here the active principles of the curcuma. So it is generally been called as curcuminoids, and curcumin is the colored component been present in the curcuma langa. It is also described as a oleoresin. So we can feel the aroma, no? So that is the oleoresin factor which gives that distinct pungent and agreeable smell, and that color is the curcumin. So curcuminoids is the general term we are using, and even it also contains gingerberone and turmerones and caprylic acid. So the uses of the medicinal uses of the turmeric we did not specify also, right? Because we all us know about the use of the turmeric, not just only as a coloring agent in our culinary, in the cooking process, but it is a proven anti-microbial and anti-inflammatory, and also been used as a cosmetic also most of the time. So it is been proven that in Ayurveda and Siddha also it is been much used in the treatment of like a diabetic condition, and also for the hypertension it has been used. So in Southeast Asia it has been used as an antiseptic substance, and even to cure the wounds and cuts and also the abscesses and all. So it is been proven that it can be used for the irritable bowel syndrome as well. And in the recent times, it is also proven to be anti-cancerous and antioxidant properties also been observed in curcuma. And it is been told that in the medical journals that for the cancer, the chemotherapy is also one of the thing the patients will be given, right? So the chemotherapy will be having radiation and chemotherapy. They'll have a lot of side effects. So to minimize the side effects of the chemotherapy and radiation, small amount of the curcuma powder consumption makes a better option has been suggested, because it is anti-cancerous and also reduces the effects of these cancer treatments as well. Then um, so it is also been used in the culinary also as a coloring agent for different aspects as well, and it is been also used as for the treatment of the skin disorders, any kind of skin rash and other acne problems, and even to traditionally in India it is also been used to remove unwanted or unnecessary hair and face also. So it is something like a facial cream like also been often been used. So we can just mention it as like sarva roga nivarini, as they say, no, like it's a turmeric is a very important ingredient in our culinary, and also it has lot of medicinal properties been proven, like the curcumin capsules are also available in the market to be used as an antioxidant and anti-cancerous drug. The next one is the gingiber officinae or gingiber officinalis, that is ginger. So this is also belongs to the family Gingiberaceae, the same family. So it is the similar characters we can be seen in both curcuma and ginger, but we can make out the difference. Like actually the turmeric will be having a mother bulb, the actual the seeding material, and then it will develop the branches. The branches of this rhizome, horizontally creeping rhizome, they're called as fingers, both in curcuma and ginger. So here the fingers of the curcuma are round, whereas in ginger they are laterally been compressed. That is one of the difference. And also the nodal markings are very clear, and also the small uh, apart from the fibrous root system, small area outgrowths are also been seen on this nodal regions, very clearly demarcated on the rhizome under the underground stem. So here it is also fleshy. The useful part is, of course, here also the fresh rhizome and also the dried rhizome is both the ways it has been used. And here the characteristic features are almost the same. Only the difference is we can clearly see the aerial stem. The stem arising from the rhizomatic part is bearing the alternately arranged leaves, simple leaves with the sheathing leaf base. So a true stem is seen in ginger. That is the only difference. And also the leaves are aromatic and slightly pubescent with a parallel venation. And here also the inflorescence is cape inflorescence arising from the base of the leaf stalk. From the radical origin it will be seen. So the active principles of the ginger, that is mainly it is 50% starch and also 9% protein will be there. Mainly it is the glycerides and fatty acids and phosphatic acid. It is a gingerberone and a gingerberol. So here also in ginger also there is a oleoresin is present, which is the gingerberol, and gingerberol is the active principle, which is the aromatic and also the pungent substance of the rhizome. Then coming to the medicinal properties, as I suggested, like it is also been used often. The ginger is been used, fresh rhizome is been used for different purposes, but at the same time, the peeled the cork layers are being removed from the rhizome that has been sugar coated or lime coated, also been used. So sugar coated ginger, the sliced ginger of sugar coated is also been marketed much from China in the present days. So the Jamaican ginger is considered to be the best variety of ginger among the varieties which is produced all over the world. So in India, it is a Cochin ginger is considered to be the best variety of ginger. Okay, so even the ginger is been dried and also lime coated. That is what we call it as sont. As being the rhizome is dried, the moisture content is reduced. So naturally, the active principles will become more concentrated. So that's why the sont will be of more stronger in aroma than the fresh ginger. So that also been used for the different purposes. So the use of the ginger, it is mainly carminative. That means it improves the digestion. There are different things in the digestion process, like if just the substances which we improve the digestion process, we call it as carminative. And also if it leads to avoiding the constipation kind of thing, the digestion process, that is being called as purgative. Okay, so like a different and something like the castor, which is a very effective one, which can cleanse the entire digestive tract, that is called cathartic. So different levels will be there. Mainly the carbonative one, which just simply improves the digestion process. So for that purpose, ginger is the best medicine. Like it has been very much often used, and it is also been used for the cold and cough symptoms as well, as all of us has been used this in the COVID times a lot, right? So the ginger is being used, the fresh one or the peeled one and the sugar coated one, and also the dried one with the lime coating, which is sont, is made into powder that can be used for the different purposes. So it is again, even the ginger is also uh, been mainly used as a carbonative, but it is also been used to treat the arthritis problem, and also for the it is also anti-inflammatory and also improves the digestive tract, any kind of infections and all, because it is antibacterial agent and it fights with harmful bacteria. And also it is used to treat nausea and also morning sickness during the pregnancy. Then, as I told you, even for the chemotherapy, the patients of cancer patients undergo chemotherapy, they'll be also be having a kind of symptom like nauseating feeling they'll have because of the side effects of the drugs. So that nauseating feeling can be reduced by using the ginger. That is also one of the advantage we have. So it is also been used for the treatment of different kinds of skin disorders, rashes, blemishes, and also it has been used for the treatment of different kind of boils as well. So in the last, I would like to give one like caution, where it is naturally for us it is very interesting to know about the use of different kinds of plants, particularly to get relief from the small health problems, not the chronic problems or serious health issues, but we'll try to use some home remedies, right? But in the exam, while we are writing, let us say it is about amla or turmeric or ginger, we need to specify what exactly the technical words are given in our study material. Like just now we told about the Ginger, it is a carminative and also been used as an anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial, and also used for the arthritis problems and all, right? So similarly for the turmeric, we told it has a lot of antioxidant properties, anti-cancerous properties and all. Similarly for the amla, we told they are it is used to improve the immunity, and also it is a good source of antioxidants and all. Okay, so concentrate what are been actually given in our content, the most important medicinal uses which are been clearly been given in our book. You need to read and remember clearly. In the last, you can definitely add like the amla in the case, like it is also been used in making of the shampoo and hair oil. But just stating it is being used in making of hair oil and also shampoo, and also making for the pickles and all. That is not the main medicinal value of the plant as such, right? So don't just write in a casual way. Try to write the exact words which are being given, and main medicinal properties of the plants you have to specify first. Then you can also add what are the other additional information and also you can write in a general way also, nothing wrong. But don't give only the general use of these plants as everyone will be knowing. Okay, so be specific about the words which are being given in our study material. That makes our answer a better one, and also a subject wise, that is the way the student need to write the answer, right? So these are not general articles which are being studied in the papers and all. I mean, newspapers or somewhere else, like in the YouTube channel, they say so many things about the plants and all, no? But here we are doing a course and also learning some scientific words, technical words, and appropriate terminology we have to use. I hope you understand my point. Then we are moving to the next aspect of the cultivation of medicinal plants. That is, this is a unit 5. So here, three plants are being given for us in the syllabus. That is cultivation of aloe, then it is Coleus porcoli, then Andrographis paniculata. Three plant cultivation has been given in our syllabus. So normally for the botany student, we are not going to learn about the cultivation aspect of any of the plant, right? So, but here in our syllabus, it is being given, and for the botany students, it is a little bit new to learn about the cultivation practices. Okay, so but we need to focus specifically about the cultivation aspects of the plants. Okay, so what are the headings are being given? The previous units we discussed about the medicinal plants, right? Their morphology in brief, then the active principles what they have, and the medicinal uses, right? And I given a list of side headings like botanical name, to which family it belongs, and also which part is useful, vernacular names, which part is useful, then brief morphology, then the active principles very clearly, then of course the medicinal uses as I just few minutes back I suggested. So important things you need to mention first. Okay, so one or two plants together can be asked. So if you can give the side headings first and give the information, you will be able to give complete information in brief in a given time period. Okay, then coming to the cultivation of the medicinal plants. So this also will be given more often is asked in the exams. So either of in these three, any one can be given as an given in the as an essay question in your exams, or sometimes out of all these medicinal plants, their active principles or medicinal uses can be a short question. So be thorough with all the plants, whether they are general information about their uses and all, or cultivation also. Any of the thing can be asked as a short question, particularly the medicinal uses. So here the cultivation aspect of the medicinal plants is concerned. When it is being asked, you have to focus more on the cultivation aspects. what type of soil it require, what is the propagation method, that means how we grow that plant. Okay, so the propagation method, what type of soil, and what is the methods we follow, the seeding wise and the rows and all. Okay, so then what is the kind of irrigation it required, and when the crop can be harvested, and how the harvested product also will be handled. So these things you need to focus more, not the description part, because the question will be asked as discuss about the cultivation of so and so. So you need to be clear about what is being asked. So if you just give the description without mentioning the cultivation, your answer will be incomplete. So write about the cultivation more in detail, and about the medicinal properties, and you like the active principles in brief. That's how I actually given in our book also. Okay, so coming to the cultivation aspect, I told you the use of the plants in medicine has been increased a lot since a long time. So there is a need of medicinal plants, even because some of the products are being used in allopathy medicine, and many people are also been again using the traditional medicinal systems as well. So there is a rapid increase of is been happened for the medicinal plants. So far, most of the plants, as I told you, several plants are being in use either in traditional medicinal system or in allopathy system. But very few plants are under cultivation, hardly 20 plants. So naturally, when we are collecting the plants from their natural habitat, without any replacement, there won't be any continuous supply of the product for the market, and at the same time we are going to lose that resource permanently if it is not being replaced. And as I told you in the general syllabus discussion also, being biological forms, the geographical location, that means in a particular place when the plants are been the medicinal plants are been collected, they'll have a better quality. Just now for the ginger, I told Cochin ginger is the best variety in India, as I said. So that geographical location matters. So here, if you grow that plants where the active principles are in more concentration, that is being required for us. So that's how even as a conservation strategy wise, that is the best method, and we'll get a continuous supply of the same quality, which will be a necessity for a product to be used in the industries. So because of all these things, the cultivation aspects are becoming more important for the medicinal plants. And another reason is the conservation. Again, we are going to discuss that. So here, only three plants are being given as just a set example. Like one is aloe vera. As all of us know, aloe vera it belongs to the Agaceae family. Earlier, it is been placed in Liliaceae, but later on it is changed to Agaceae family. In recent times, it includes almost 300 species. So it is been actually this one is a native of East and South Africa, but has been introduced to different parts of the world as a sand binding plant and also hardy plant, which can grow abundantly in the dry conditions as well. So here in India, mainly it is aloe barbadense and aloe barbadensis, and aloe vera is mainly cultivated, are also been more abundant species they are well established in Indian climatic conditions. So it is in Sanskrit it is called Kumari, and Kalabanda in Telugu. So this is the morphology of the plant wise. It is something like uh, a desert plant, like a hardy plant. So it is a perennial stoloniferous herbaceous plant. So the suckers, like as it is going to develop, the plantlets are going to form. So it ranges from something like a rosette, like the leaves are going to be arranged like a cluster. A rosette like arrangement of the leaves are being seen. and it may depends upon the area, and also in the soil characters wise, and light and rainfall and all, depends upon that. It may even grow up to 1.5 to 2 meters tall also. So the habitat, it is mainly of semi-arid zones. It's an indication, and most of the time it has also been a regular thing to observe, hanging some aloe vera plant in front of the house, particularly in the rural areas, right? So that is been an indication that being it's a succulent plant, it is not going to dry up even it is just hanged outside. And it also being a live plant, it releases oxygen as well. So both the ways considered to be auspicious, which release more oxygen and shows the longevity as it can sustain the hard conditions as well. So here the roots are of fibrous root system, being it's a monocot plant, and the stem is very short, and because the leaves are being arranged like a rosette like from the rhizomatic part. So the leaves are the spade the base is much broad, and gradually they narrow down, and it is having a concave base on the inner side, and the margins are either it is smooth, or sometimes in the different species it may be slightly spiny, and even the surface is a smooth greenish, grayish green in color, or sometimes even blotches in small patches of the colors also can be seen. So it is the leaf is the main source of the gel, that is aloin. In Hindi it is also called as musambar. So the gel is being extracted from the leaves. Okay, then the inflorescence is escape again. It can be as long as 6 to 12 uh, inches long, or sometimes more than half meter, or 1 meter long inflorescence also been usually been seen. The flowers are of trimerous in nature. Mostly they are of drooping type, not erectly standing flowers. They are the flowers are of drooping in character, of trimerous in nature, being monocot plants. So 3+3 arrangement of the periantha, which is completely fused. So there will be 6 stamens arranged again in 3+3, and the gynoecium is of tricarpellary, syncarpous, trilocular ovary. Okay, so the cultivation part, as you can see the content here, the type of soil it requires, we need to know. So that's how we start the cultivation. No? So which type of soil it requires. So based on that only we will decide where to grow this plant. Okay, so here it is mainly it can sustain in poor soils as well, but prefers the sandy, loamy soils. Moderately fertile soil is also good enough. So the soil, it can also tolerate higher pH as well, with the high sodium and potassium levels. Then it can tolerate the temperatures from 0 to 45 degrees centigrade, and the rainfall roughly between 300 to 400 and 400 mm. That means 30 to 40 centimeters rainfall is enough. Once the plant been established, so the even it can be cultivated as a rain-fed crop. So the low rainfall they can sustain. So coming to the manures, so it doesn't require much um, nitrogen and potassium it requires. So slight, moderately fertile soils are fine, but even it can grow well in poor soils as well. The propagation is through the suckers, the small plantlets which are being produced at the root stalk are being separated, and that will been placed in the rows. So sometimes even a nursery also can be raised. That means a small elevated plots of the soil mixed with farmyard manure are made as nursery beds. In that, these small suckers can be placed, and after attaining a certain growth of after 40 to 50 days age, the roots will be much established, and it will be ready for the transplantation again. That also can be done. So from the nursery beds, it will be placed in the main field in rows. So that is the harvesting of the like they can be directly kept in the field also. So mainly 20 to 40 centimeters, 20 between the plants and 40 between the rows. Generally, it is been placed. So the plants will be ready for the harvesting. Actually, from the outer side, the largest leaves will be harvested first. So at the base, the leaves are being cut and they are placed in a wooden turf or in a container in a slant position, so that the mucilaginous substance which is being there in the leaves will be oozed out. That will be collected and uh, subject to the processing. So the preparation of the aloe, that is the aloe Elovin, it is a content active principle. So the miscellaneous substance collected is been dried, so that is been subjected. So here there are two different methods. So like it is hepatic or livery aloe, like it is something like amorphous one, and also called as Gloria or vitreous aloe, which is of a semi-transparent. So here just as the gel which is collected been boiled. So depends upon the boiling process and also the shade drying of that substance. It depends upon that the color will change. So it is either transparent or slightly brownish in shade. Both the things are been generally been observed. So the uses of the aloe vera is been as early as almost it is being mentioned in all the traditional systems of medicine. In India, it is almost from 400 BC. It has been mentioned the use of this aloe vera. It is a good skin conditioner. In fact, when we just happen to know about the aloe vera, they say that it can be used for any kind of ailment or any kind of health problems, starting from diabetes or hypertension or any kind of gynec problems and also arthritis problems and all. But it the proven character of the aloe vera is it is a good skin conditioner. So all the kind of skin rashes and skin blemishes, and it's a good sunscreen. Then the burn injuries can be healed very quickly without leaving a mark. So it is a good wound healer. Wounds and cuts and burn injuries can be treated very well with applying aloe vera gel. uh, and also considered to be it is anti-inflammatory and also antimicrobial, and because of the chronic kind of wounds also can be cured very effectively by applying this aloe vera gel. And it is also considered to be purgative. That means for the digestion purpose also it can be used. And in the folklore medicine, it is also been used for the treatment of even for the kids for the cold and other symptoms. Musamba, just the white dried aloe is been dissolved in water, and that can be given to the infants to get relief from the cold symptoms and all. So it is also been used in the preparations of the shampoo and also the face creams and all, body powders and detergents as well. So there is a lot of usage for the aloe vera plant. So mainly for the different kinds of cosmetics, but as I told you, it is good skin conditioner and also it is a good sunscreen gel. So any kind of skin issues can be treated very effectively by using aloe vera. Other drugs, other uses are being much practiced in traditional medicine also, like for the treatment of the diabetes and also for the hypertension, and also for different kinds of, even for the thyroid problem, the people are using aloe vera. Okay, so then the second plant is the Coleus forcefoli. That is like Pashana Bedi or Patharchur are the common names of this plant. This plant belongs to the family Lamiaceae, and most of us grow azwine plant, vamu చెట్టు అంటాం కదా. So that azwine plant is very close to this Coleus forcefoli. The only difference is, of course, the smell and all. Definitely, they are different. But more importantly, the Coleus forcefully, the plant what we are studying, will be having tuberous roots. And the plant what we grow in our pots will not develop any tuberous roots. It's not normal herbaceous plant. But here, the tuberous roots is one unique thing in Coleus forcefully. That is the useful part. Main useful part of the plant is only the roots, tuberous roots. Okay, so the plant belongs to the Lamiaceae family, and the plant may grow up to it is profuse, more bushy off in nature, but sometimes the branches can grow spread out kind of thing. So 1.5 to 1 meter tall the plant height can be. Highly pubescent, the entire plant parts are, and the leaves are simple, opposite or opposite decussate also, with the leaf blade extended on the petiole, and it's a crenate kind of leaf margin, little orbicular, and also the tip is acute and slightly thick and fleshy. The leaves are slightly thick and fleshy, and aswine-like aroma will be there to the leaves. Uh, then coming to the inflorescence, it is uh, Thyrsus inflorescence, just like our asimum, with the purplish or bluish color flowers. So the flowers are of like bilabiate calyx and corolla, with the persistent calyx also. Then the important thing is with four stamens, that is another important character. Of course, here uh, the useful part is the roots. And the roots are quite interestingly, they are of small carrot like orangish brown color fleshy roots they are, with the ginger aroma. So that is a little strange. The leaves are aswine like, and the um, tuberous roots are of ginger like smell they will be having. So here the flowering and fruiting season is between June to October. Here, the cultivation methods. So, coming to the cultivation methods, here the soil is it thrives well in sandy loamy soils, but the pH is between 6.4 to 7.9. So there, for certain plants, a specific pH will be required. For some, it is a moderate, as we mentioned about the aloe vera. High pH values also it can tolerate, but here it is uh, like 6.4 to 7.9, and the temperatures are also slightly lower. 10 to 27 degrees centigrade is necessary. A little higher temperatures up to 30 also it can tolerate. So the manures it can responds well for the NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphate, and phosphorus. So, that is been added for the well prepared soil. So here the planting material is the cuttings. So even though it develops the seeds, but mainly it is been propagated through cuttings. Okay, so the stem, which is been made into smaller pieces, 10 to 12, 10 to 12 centimeters long pieces are being made, having minimum of three pairs of leaves. So that is being placed like generally um, the planting can be done from the May to June, starting of the monsoon season, and like it is also been raised in the nurseries some for a while. Our direct plantation of the cuttings also in the field can be done as well. So usually the planting season directly in the field is been in the winter season from November to December. It is been made. So if it is multiplied in the nursery, it can be done from August to September as well. So the land preparation is being it's a tuberous root is the useful part. The thoroughly plowed soil is very much required. So repeated plowing makes the soil more porous so that the tuberous roots can penetrate very easily. So it is so the land is prepared as with the ridges and all. So 30 centimeters between the rows, and it is 40 centimeters between the plants. We had to use so that the plants will get sufficient space for the growth. So initially the irrigation need to be done weekly once, and later on it can continue like 15 days ahead. So minimum 20 to 25 waterings are required for the harvesting time. Like it is the inflorescence need to be removed so that the development of the rhizome will be the tuberous roots will be much better, and also yields better. So the harvesting is been done like after 6 months of the crop, the harvesting can be done. So before the harvesting, like 10 to 15 days before the irrigation need to be given. That is after that we did not give the irrigation. So by giving the irrigation, and also the soil will allow the pulling of the plants much easily, uh, because the yield is about 20 to 25 tons fresh weight. So it is the yield can be average of 12.5 to 15 tons per hectare can be achieved. So there are some mild plant disease also been mentioned, but the use of the this dried roots, the dry, the roots are been shade dried and made into powder. So that is actually the coleus forscolin roots are been stored in the form of powder. Being they are very fleshy, it's not possible to store them. And even the deterioration of the active principle also can happen. So it is the dried tubers powder is been stored. So it is being used mainly as a carbonative, and also it reduces the flatulence, and also it is used to treat anemia, then dropsy, infestation of different kinds of worms in the intestine, then chronic abdominal pain and colitis, and piles problem also it has been used, and even the powder extract and also the leaves are also been used for the treatment of cold and cough, and also sore throat and other things. Even it is being used for the asthma and rhinitis and other things also. So the recently the pharmacological studies also been shown that it is also something like it is um, antioxidant properties also it has. So in fact, coleus forscolin, the active principle of it is a diterpene alkaloidal drug of forscolin. So that forscolin is the active principle, uh, a diterpene alkaloid. That is considered to be a very effective drug for the treatment of different um, disorders as well, and the concentration of this forskolin is very low. That is one disadvantage, because the therapeutic properties of this drug has been proven very effectively in the clinical trials and all, but only the concentration of this active principle is very low. So the plant breeders are trying to increase the concentration of this forskolin as a new breeding techniques they are following. Then it will be also much useful for the use of this plant in future, because it has been suggested it can be used in the allopathy medicine also very effectively. Then the other plant is Andrographis paniculata, uh, belongs to the family Acanthaceae. So the common name of this plant is Nelavemu, and also it is been Kalameg, also been Hindi name is Kalameg, and it is Chirata, like in Marathi and all, it is also called as Chirata. So there are various names because it is much used in the traditional systems of medicine. So it is a small herbaceous plant, much found in the plains, particularly in the rainy season. It is abundantly been found as a weed plant, in fact, but because of its use in the as a medicinal plant is been increasing, they're also starting the cultivation of this Andrographis. So it is the stem is like quadrangular and also highly pubescent. with the leaves are of simple opposite or opposite decussate. The leaves are little linear, and both the tips are highly pointed. That is one characteristic feature we generally been mentioned about the leaves are concerned. So both the tips are been very much pointed with entire margin and acute apex. Then coming to the inflorescence, it is a terminal racemose inflorescence. That's how the species name it got, racemosa. It's very big, 0.5 centimeters. That means almost half meter size of the inflorescence it will develop. It's a panicle. It means branch panicle of racemose inflorescence it will have. So bluish and purplish color flowers are being seen. Uh, then even the here also this Acanthaceae family is very close to Lamiaceae family, that is Ocimum family. So both will share bilobate calyx and corolla, and the presence of stamens less in number. So here the stamens are only two. Only two stamens are being seen. And the gynoecium is bicarpellary, syncarpous and tetralocular ovula. So then coming to the seeds, they are very small black seeds. They'll be so here the uh, cultivation methods are concerned. So here the moderately fertile soil is enough, and quite good temperature, and also the light. So roughly around the temperatures can be 25 to 30 degrees centigrade is essential. And the propagation is through seeds. The propagation of species is through seeds. So the seeds are being germinated the nursery beds or else in the polythene bags. So because direct sowing of the seeds is not that easy, and sometimes even it has been a broadcasting method, like the seeds are being mixed with the fine sand and mixes spread out in the field. That is called broadcasting method. That also been practiced, but more often it is raising the seedlings in nursery beds, and then transplantation is being followed. Harvesting can be done. So here the useful parts are the leaves are the aerial parts of the plant. So it is difficult to pluck the leaves and all. So it is generally been described as a young shoots are the aerial parts of the plant. So before the initiation of the flowering, so it is just like the harvesting can be done from 90 days onwards. So minimum of 2 to 3 times we can just trim the branches and can harvest. Then again the new branches will develop. So like that, at least 2 to 3 times we can harvest the crop. So the yield will be 3.5 to 5 tons of dried leaves, and the leaves are been shade dried. So most of the time the leaves are been shade dried, so that the active principles are not get deteriorated with the direct exposure to sunlight. Then the active principles of the andrographis is that it is having andrographloids, the like the alkaloids like andrographloids, they say that's A and Z. Andrographloid A and Z are being identified in andrographis. So this is been the uses of this plant is mainly for the intermittent fever. So now and then we'll have fever, not continuously. So that is called intermittent fever. So for that, it is an effective one, and it is also majorly in the traditional system of medicine. It is described as a bitter tonic. We know, no. So like healthy syrups, like often the people who are little weak after a chronic health issue, the doctors will prescribe tonic. Like so, that's how it is been described as a bitter tonic. Bitter tonic, and has like stomachic, like it reduces the digestive health issues. So stomachic, and it is also having for the general debility, general weakness, general debility, and a convalescence after fever. So any kind of general weakness after a prolonged period of the fever and all, it is a best drug, and it is also been used for the treatment of dysentery and diarrhea, then dyspepsia, irritable bowel syndrome, and also and even it has been considered as antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. Sore throat, for the sore throat and tonsillitis, and also it is been used for the hypertension, and in the folk medicine it is also been used for the snake bite. So mainly for the treatment of the fever, and also for the treatment of the cold and cough, then diarrhea and dysentery kind, and also it's mainly as a bitter tonic. Okay, so these are the three plants cultivation aspects wise. So any of the plant can be asked in the exam as an essay question. So as I suggested you, when it is been asked about, discuss about or write about the cultivation of aloe vera or cultivation of andrographis. So you can be brief about the morphology. If it is difficult for you to remember all the things, you can brief about the morphology, but try to give all the said headings related to the cultivation aspect, right? Okay, then coming to the sixth unit, here this is a very interesting aspect of the medicinal plants. We started knowing what are the how the medicinal systems are being evolved, and next what are the important medicinal plants are, and what actually they consist of. That means the what are the active principles they has, and even we try to learn about the cultivation of three important medicinal plants. Then we are proceeding to the topic called pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy means it is a study of the crude drugs. Crude drugs means unprocessed drugs. So, as all of us know, in all the traditional medicines, we are going to use the crude drugs which are unprocessed. So, if it is a leaf drug, we are going to take the leaf powder or leaf extract. Okay, or if it is a rhizome, we are going to take the components of the rhizome in the form of the powder or extract, something like that. So here the main thing to know that crude drugs means the active principles are never isolated. Those are called crude drugs. So the study of the crude drugs is called pharmacognosy. There is a protocol in the even for the pharmacy students, they have one paper of pharmacognosy, that is study of crude drugs. So the plant name, which part is useful, and to which family it belongs, brief morphology and brief cultivation aspect, and brief uh, mm, like active principles, and what is the medicinal uses, and even adulteration also will be discussed in pharmacognosy. It means adulteration, either it is deliberate or anything generally been happened in the market, or sometimes substitutes also been mentioned because of having similar kind of medicinal property. It is being given a substitute plant for the use in the same way like the original plant. So all this information comes under the protocol of pharmacognostic study. So that is very interesting, like pharmacognostic study of the drugs wise it is being started. Again, the history of the medicinal botany, as I just started with Theophrastus, here it is the study of the medicine. The father of medicine is Hippocrates, right? So the father of medicine, Hippocrates, then it is the Dioscorides, who documented about several medicinal plants in his De Materia Medica. Then Galen, who introduced chemicals in medicine. Then it is the Paracelsus, that is the extraction methods are being invented by him. Then Lemery, using the alcohols for the extraction of the different components also been established. So these are the different steps happen to develop the subject called pharmacognosy. It is the Seidler who has given this name called pharmacognosy, and it is been given like an important thing in the subject of the crude drug study. So as it is the pharmacology, pharmaceuticals, and also chemical pharmacy, all these things can be considered as in pharmacognosy like. So pharmacognostic study protocol is also been there. I already mentioned. We are going to give the botanical name to which family it belongs. Then it is also the vernacular names are also being mentioned. Then about the geographical location or the distribution of the plant, where it is generally been found in different regions of the country or the world, where it is being found, that also been mentioned, geographical location. Then history and introduction of the drug. So when it is been introduced in the traditional systems of medicine, since what time it is been in use, that also been mentioned. Then cultivation, collection, processing of the crude drug, because this makes a very important thing. At the time of the cultivation, I just missed. So if you just randomly collect the plants from their natural habitat, we are not aware of what is the age of the plant, because depends upon the age of the plant also the active principle concentration depends. Okay, so even the plant, the leaf drugs need to be harvested before the flowering. So once the flowering started, if you collect the leaves, the active principle concentration will be low. So when to collect and at what time and at what age of the plant and in what season. So all these also important. By cultivating only will come to know what exactly is the best time for the harvesting of that plant. Okay, so that also will be adding to the advantage of getting a quality drug of the plants. So that's why it is cultivation, collection, processing of crude drugs also we are going to learn in the pharmacognosy study. Then brief morphological characters, that a part which is used, not the whole plant, which part is been used, that also been generally called as biological source. So which part, the morphology of that part. Let us say the seed. What is the shape of the seed and what is the color and what is the type of seed coat it is, all those things we are going to discuss. Then microscopic studies, like if it is a leaf drug, we can also, or stem or anything. So the anatomical characters also helps for the correct identification of the drug. So then if it is been sold in the market in the form of powder, then we can also study the powder analysis. So just to know whether it is the original drug or not. Okay, so microscopic studies are we're going to do, and the qualitative analysis, like whether that active principle is been there or not. We have to confirm no to use it as a drug. So that qualitative analysis, quantitative is not. We are not going to estimate how much is there, but we try to confirm that active principle is there in the drug. So that the test we are going to conduct, and also pharmacological studies. So what is the use of the drug also we are going to mention. Then commercial varieties, substitutes and adulterants also we are going to mention. If it is under cultivation, the improved varieties also will be there, released by the agriculture universities and other research laboratories. So that varieties we are going to mention, or else any substitute is there equivalent to the original drug, that we will mention, or any common adulterants. With a regular observation, we know what is mixed up in the original drug as an adulterant, unwanted substance, that also can be mentioned. So this is the protocol. You may get an essay question on what is pharmacognosy. Just a short question can be what is a pharmacognosy, or the pharmacognosy protocol. How we are going to study the pharmacognosy study of a drug. That also can be an essay question. So be sure what is being asked. Okay. Then there is also one important continuation to this in the pharmacognosy, that is adulteration of brand drugs. We know if there is a market and people will get money. So if the plant's availability is less, that means that the drug availability is less and also difficult to procure. So naturally, there will be a chance of mixing some other substances in the place of original drug. So that lead to adulteration. So the adulteration is nothing but debasement or devaluing the product, either intentionally or unintentionally. Unintentionally means while collecting the plant, some other material also can happen. So if it is a root drug, some parts of the stem and leaves also can be happen, because it is not completely um, been sorted out. As the agricultural practice wise, it is not really not so easy to remove everything, and only the useful part need to be placed. Like that it can also happen, but more often it is the intentional adulteration makes the impact, because there may be wrong substances are being given, or some synthetic substances are also been given in the place of original drug. That makes the negative effect as an adulteration. So there are different examples are given, like the deterioration is something like there are different levels of adulteration, that is deterioration, admixture, sophistication, substitution, inferiority, and so spoil. That's how the adulteration can happen. Those are the headings. Then types of adulteration, it is substitution with the substandard commercial varieties, so which is not having the same kind of quality, that also can be added. Like so here there are examples of strychnos seeds mixed with strychnos potatorum seeds, strychna, then Rauwolfia serpentina roots are mixed with Rauwolfia tetraphylla leaves. Right? So they look the same way, but the quality is not the same. Okay, so one interesting because of the similarity wise, Piper nigrum, that is pepper, Mirialu, always not always, often been adulterated with papaya seeds. They look the same way. If close observation will easily one can detect which seeds they are, but that's how they are being generally do the adulteration. Then substitution with superficially similar drugs. So here similar kind of leaves also been used, like saffron is one highly adulterated one. Saffron, as you know, it is called kunkumpu, right? So it is a very delicate stigmas are being collected from the Crocus sativus plant. So they are very expensive. 1 gram will be a pure drug. If it is, it costs more than 2,000. But we'll get the same for 100 to the same. As I said, 2,000 rupees of 1 gram. So from 100 rupees to 2,000 range we will get. So depends upon that, we'll get the quality also. Here, the saffron is been commonly been adulterated with Carthamus tinctorius. Some of you might be knowing about Kusumalu. Kusuma noni, that is also been very uh, best oil for the cardiac patients. Safola oil is a brand oil also been available, but that kusma flowers, Carthamus flowers are yellowish in color, but slightly when they are dried up, they turn to orangish in color, and even they give color just like the saffron. So 100% adulteration happens with the saffron is with Carthamus tinctorius flowers. Then substitution with artificially manufactured substances. So here, compressed chicory is being used in the form of coffee beans, and paraffin wax will be colored. And more often here, they can be exhausted drugs, or even the colored substance are being used, which are chemical substances. That is mainly with the curcuma. As just a few minutes back, we discussed about the medicinal uses of curcuma, but at the same time, the curcuma is one of the product which is highly adulterated in the market. When you purchase the small packets of curcuma, they are 100% adulterated. And if they are being used for different purposes, fine, but not to consume, because they are being chemical substances are being commonly used, like metanyl yellow and lead acetate to give that bright yellow color, which are carcinogenic. So they cause cancer. So highly adulterated, one of the common product we regularly use is curcuma. So we need to be very careful while purchasing the curcuma powder. So better to make the curcuma powder at home. That is 100% safe. Okay, so that adulteration can be an essay question. And then there is, once we know that adulteration happens, okay, so that is human nature. To get more profit, greediness, not human nature, the greediness make the man to do all worse things. So adulteration is a very common thing. So if they get high income, or doesn't also matter sometimes. It doesn't even give that much of income as well. But just a substitute, it can be made very easily. Nowadays, ginger garlic paste is made out of banana pulp, right? It looks the same creamish white in color. By adding little bit of ginger garlic, that aroma will be there and nobody will detect. But in a way, it is not harmful. It is not going to affect the health of the people who consume, but only we are paying more the amount which is not worth of it. But there are some products, as just now I said, the adulterants happen to be in turmeric, they are carcinogenic. So we should be very cautious in that kind of adulteration. So here there is also a method of testing whether the drugs are adulterated or pure. That is called evaluation. So drug adulteration is there, then followed by drug evaluation to detect whether they are pure or not. So to detect the purity and also the adulteration, to the evaluation is a method. Generally, we describe it as to assess the purity and the quality of the drug, and also testing the presence of any adulterant is there. Okay, so there are different methods. So there is morphological studies, which is also called as organoleptic evaluation, by using our sensory organs, by seeing the color, by tasting, by smelling, all those things which are a kind of first-hand testing kind without any lab equipment, and also the technology-wise it doesn't require, just only the expertise. A person who is dealing with these herbal drugs can easily detect whether it is a original one or adulterated one, which is not the case with us, right? So that is an experience. So morphological evaluation, then microscopic evaluation, then it is a physical evaluation, chemical evaluation, and biological evaluation. So all these five methods are very important. You can just check once. Uh, Very rarely they are asking about drug adulteration and evaluation together. If it is asked like that, we have to mention both the things in brief. What are the different types of adulteration methods and what are the different types of evaluation methods? But more often, either of the one is only been asked. Either adulteration or evaluation is only been asked. So check once what is being asked. మీకు evaluation అడగచ్చు, adulteration అన్న అడగచ్చు. సో ఏది ఏ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగారో అనేది చూసుకుని ఆన్సర్ రాయండి. ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ రైటింగ్ ఇవాల్యుయేషన్ వెన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆస్క్డ్ అబౌట్ అడల్టరేషన్, యువర్ ఆన్సర్ విల్ గో రాంగ్. మొత్తం మీ ఆన్సరే కంప్లీట్ గా రాంగ్ అవుతుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ బీన్ ఆఫెన్ అబ్జర్వ్డ్ వైల్ డూయింగ్ ద పేపర్ వాల్యుయేషన్. The students go wrong in reading the question itself. Be clear and try to understand what is being asked. Adulteration అడిగినప్పుడు adulteration రాయాలి, evaluation అడిగినప్పుడు evaluation రాయాలి. If both are being asked, be brief about both. Okay, so pharmacognosy. So what is pharmacognosy can be a short question. Pharmacognostic study can be an essay question. Adulteration, evaluation, both can be essay questions as well. So definitely you are going to get one essay question from this unit, being it's so important to know about the medicinal plants final stage of use, no, like the crude drugs wise we are studying. So then the next topic is about that seventh one is ethnobotany, history, scope and importance. So this is one of the new subject, in fact, uh, like going to be much more in future. It has lot of scope for the development, because as we do exploring the plants, new medicinal plants to be identified, so that we can find some more use of medicinally useful plants. And as we discussed in the phytochemicals also, like we can develop some lead substances like that, because we always try to find some new drugs for the existing problems, or even for effective drugs also, like much better ఇంకా బాగా పనిచేసే డ్రగ్స్ కోసం we always try, no. So for that reason our exploration for the knowing new medicinal plants will be going on all the time. So here the ethnobotany is one field where the aboriginal people or the tribal people who will be using the plants of their surroundings, um, their traditional knowledge will give a kind of ready-made information about the medicinal plants, because mostly the aboriginal people or the tribal people lives away from the mainland, either in the valleys or in the deep forests. So the plants what generally been seen in those regions will be different, and the plants they use for their regular health issues will be different. So when we can acquire that knowledge, we'll know the plants which they are using. So it is a kind of ready-made information to us, because they are using those plants since generations together in their traditional way. So we just need to confirm what exactly it has and whether it has that medicinal property or not. Just only confirmation is required. That's it, right? So the time for any exploration of the new medicinal plants will take so much of time, so that can be cut short into a very brief period. So that is the advantage we have with the ethnobotanical studies or ethnobotany. So this ethnobotany is been uh, Archberger was the person who has been given that word called ethnobotany, and there are different like meanings are also been given to this ethnobotany. What is can be called as a ethnobotany? So powers. So this is also called as aboriginal botany. Then study of vegetation used by aboriginal for their different commodities like food, shelter, medicine, textiles, and ornament, like that. That is the uh, definition given by Power. But in 1895, Harshberger he has given the word called ethnobotany. So the use of plants by aboriginal people. So for any purpose, the use of plants by aboriginal people was the statement given by Harshberger. Then Gulmore, he need the tribal economic botany, the traditional knowledge of plants and plant life of the tribal people is another. So the different concepts are been there. What is called ethnobotany? So it is ultimately it is about uh, the plants interaction, the aboriginal people interaction with their surroundings and the plants what they use is the final thing about the ethnobotany. It is the traditional knowledge, the traditional knowledge of the aboriginal people. We can say that as the ethnobotany. Okay, so the ethnobotany, it is related to different fields. So directly we are simply saying uh, what plants they are using, but in the page 85 you can just look into the ethnobotany. Means it is related to so many things: geography, where that place is. Then it is the economic botany in general, what are the economical important plants they are using. Then anthropology, related to the human information, like which tribe is been there and what is the different things they do. Then archaeology, so from past to the present. So archaeology wise also the subject information we need to know. Then sociology, what is the intricacies of that society system the tribal societies will be having. Then psychology, what kind of nature they are having, what is the general socio-economic conditions they are. And also pharmacology, finally what is the use of that plant, particularly in the treatment of certain diseases. So these are different things related to actually the ethnobotany means. And ethnobotany, it is also been considered as an interdisciplinary approach. So as I told you, it will give the traditional knowledge of the aboriginal people, which is not been documented so far, uh, because that will be given from the older generation to the younger generation. So it's not been documented like the traditional systems of medicine, like Ayurveda and Siddha. So they need to be documented. That means we need to approach them. So readily they are not going to give the information. Even we don't give our notes also to our friend, is it not? So we want to keep that knowledge like close to till at least to complete the exam, right? So that is the general student nature. Nothing wrong. But here, as the page 86, you can just see a tribal hamlet as the central location, like it is related to the subject what we are dealing with is ethnobotany, then ethnopharmacology, then ethnomedicine, ethnosociology, ethnobiology, ethnopediatrics, ethnoagriculture, then ethnoarchaeology, ethnomusicology, ethnonarcotics, and ethnotoxic. That means we try to learn about complete information about the tribal people how they live, what is their food habits, what is their general day-to-day activities they will be having. So by knowing all that intricacies of their lifestyle and all, we'll be gaining confidence and also of those people, and we'll get the knowledge, so that we'll be able to use that knowledge more effectively. Because it always happens like, even the plants are very effective in the treatment of a certain disease. With a certain type of food habits, they may be effective. So that means the we need to also follow that food habits to get the advantage of the drug, right? So all these things are um, like interconnected, and we need to get that information overall. So that is going to be uh, a future scope is so much that it is going to give a lot of advantage about the tribal knowledge, which is a very good source of the traditional knowledge, which need to be documented. Because most of, for different reasons, the tribal people are being displaced from their original habitat. Even they are losing their knowledge, traditional knowledge, which is not been passed on to the younger generations. So that knowledge is been permanently will be lost unless we document it. So that's the reason ethnobotany helps to document the traditional knowledge. At the same time, the the people originally contributing that knowledge also will benefit that knowledge once it is been more popularized and more practiced in the mainland as well. So the importance of ethnobotany wise also can be asked as an essay question. So generally, a question is been asked about ethnobotany also. So ethnobotany, its role. Okay, so as interdisciplinary science, how it is been related to the other subjects. So it is a general thing. We, by knowing this medicinal plants use of which is not been known, we'll be able to increase our like pharmacopoeia, that means a list of plants what we use. At the same time, we'll try to conserve the plants which are not been under the review of the conservation so far. uh, then we also will be able to use the resources what we have in a better way. Okay, so the so definitely you may get an essay question from ethnobotany also. Then the unit 8, that is conservation of medicinal plants. I don't think we'll be able to finish it, but important aspect of, because so far we try to discuss about how important the medicinal plants are, right? So naturally, when they are so important, there will be a lot of demand because of the herbal medicine being more popular, becoming more popular day by day. And most of the herbal medicinal systems are traditional systems been using plants as a source of drug. So we need to get more amount of the plant material. So for that reason, cultivation is required. That's one of the thing we specified for the why we need to cultivate. And more importantly, for many of the medicinal plants, the harvesting is of destructive, because the plants what we have studied from starting from Rauwolfia, then Withania, then coleus, then asparagus. For all these plants, the underground part is the useful part. That means we have to pull out that entire plant to take the useful part of the plant, right? Then the regeneration is not going to happen. So without regeneration, the chances of losing that plant permanently will be very high. So that's where actually the Rauwolfia is one of the plant declared as an endangered plant by government of India, and also banned the export in 1950s itself. So like that, there are several plants, and more importantly, most of the medicinal plants are also endemic. The plants which are been abundantly being found in all the places, the risk of the losing those plants is not that much. But if they are endemic, as all of you know, yeah, um, yeah, we'll continue the session the next week. Thank you.